New York City's mayor under indictment. Scary word of unsurvivable coming out of the National Hurricane Center. Kamala's got a new buzzword she'd like you all to know about. She'd like us all to know about. Unbelievable baby oil defense you have to hear coming from Diddy's lawyer. It's just incredible. And the viral video that's sweeping the nation. Is it really stolen if she meant to give it back? Those are the things we got on the docket today for Wicked Radio for Thursday already, September 26th. Welcome to it. Got to give a little caveat here heading into this thing. Speaking of Helene, my phone, I'm in Southeast Florida. My phone's been going off all morning long, and those of you who are in the same area know exactly what we're talking about for the severe weather warnings, which is a great warning system. There's a better than average chance that's going to go off while we're live streaming today, and you'll hear that too if you're listening or watching the replay later on or the audio podcast. But we'll share together what that sounds like. It's actually a great system, but it wakes up. It goes off on every device in your house that's attached to this emergency alert system. So all of them go off. So everybody in your house gets woken up, which is the point of the thing. But the dog is all activated earlier than normal, and it's blustery outside, and we'll give you an update on that. But it's rapidly intensifying, that's for sure. A little bit of breaking news overnight. Oh boy, how about this? Eric Adams, New York City mayor, indicted on federal corruption charges. We don't know exactly what they are. Nobody knows for sure, confirmed. Those are set to be unsealed at some point today. And you may know this already if you're listening to the rebroadcast or the replay a little bit later on. But that's what's going to happen. What's interesting to me is his reaction to it. Defiant is the word. This is long, but this is the video he released, and it's worth it to listen to his reaction and his tone throughout the whole thing. This is Eric Adams' reaction last night to it. Again, it's long, but it's worth listening to.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
Okay, but who's been targeting him? The Democrat administration. That's what's interesting. We don't know. Nobody knows for sure. Now, there's been allegations of taking foreign money, some Turkish money, if I heard that right. Maybe, maybe not. Just keep this in mind, and I have no idea. But the one thing I do know is there are a lot of other politicians they could have targeted. And I got to tell you, I haven't really been a fan of the guy, but he may be right. All of this stuff, all of the trouble in his career politically started to come his way when he started to push back against the Biden administration. And now I think he can call it the Harris administration, against the illegal immigration into his city because he was facing so much pressure from his own residents. That's when the trouble started for that guy. I don't know. Indictment unsealed a little bit later on today, and you'll probably know about this later on during the replay, but fascinating to watch. All I know is there are a lot of other politicians they could have gone after, and they went after that guy. Why? Make an example of him? You know, politicians, especially Democrats, always eat their own. I mean, nobody circles the wagons better than, well, the Buffalo Bills, but also Democrats. But also when you go against them, when you go against the party line, you push back a little bit, they will come after you with full force, which may be what's happening here with that guy. Don't know. We'll see. Will we ever find out? Let's see what's in the indictment first. Let's see. All kinds of speculation so far, but wow, what a story. All right, Kamala did an interview. Shocking news. Oh, wait, hold on. It was pre-recorded and edited, and it had to be sent to the Harris campaign before it was released for their approval. Okay, so it wasn't really an interview. It was funny, too, because Fox actually had clips from this thing before MSNBC released it and showed it. Yeah, that's pre-recorded. But she's got a new buzzword. She's got a new buzzword everybody is supposed to know now. Let's get to it right now. This is from Stephanie Rule, the MSNBC interviewer, talking to Kamala Harris. The big interview from yesterday.
And assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars. And looking holistically at the connection between that and housing.
What?
And looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments
What does that mean?
to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
Gee, do you think holistic was the buzzword that they wanted the Democrats to use this week? Her campaign? You know, was that the word of the week, like a kindergarten class that was posted on Nancy Pelosi's door? Use holistic as often as possible. I don't think they meant for her to use it 3 times in 20 seconds, but there you go. Here's another thing that's absolutely enraging, but should not surprise you, because this came out in the debate. She's been talking about it at her so-called rallies. Here's what else she said in the MSNBC interview, and this is all about immigration. It's not her fault, as borders are. It's Trump's fault. Got that, everybody? Here's what she said.
He killed a bill that would have actually been a solution because he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And that's part of what needs to be addressed. And my pledge is that when elected president, if the American people will have me, I will bring that bill back and I will sign it into law. And we need a comprehensive plan.
There you go. Plain as day. There's your plan. You know what's happening. There will be no slowdown of immigration. Absolutely not. Not like that. It will be what we just saw, what we're feeling now for 4 years, gone nuclear. And what she was referring to, of course, it's all a lie. The bill, Trump told Congress to shoot down the bill, to take it off the table. You know, it was in the bill that she'll never tell you, that most of us know already. It would have guaranteed, yes, it would have increased border security agents, for the Border Patrol at the southern border. It would have guaranteed, written in the bill, no less than, at least yearly, written into law, 5 million immigrants coming into the country every single year. We've got an estimated, according to some estimates, 15 now, but that would have guaranteed 5. So they could always say, well, we slowed it down. Yeah, well, that was in the bill. All right, let's get to the weather story of the day. This is disturbing yesterday and this morning, and you'll hear it all throughout today. I don't like to hear the word unsurvivable coming from the National Hurricane Center. As of a couple of minutes ago, and again, you know, a lot of you folks will listen to this and see it on the replay a little bit later on as it lives on X or YouTube or the audio version of the podcast, wherever you get them. Here's the 8 a.m., though. Just a couple of minutes ago, as of now, update on it. We've got Helene now, a Category 2 storm. And it's only going up, and this thing is intensifying very rapidly. It's speeding towards Florida's Gulf Coast, that much we knew. Expected to bring catastrophic winds, life-threatening storm surge. That's the unsurvivable part we'll get to here in a second. Helene has strengthened to a Cat 2, like we said, maximum sustained, 100 now. Northeast at 12 miles per hour. It's going to strengthen into a Cat 3 before making landfall. They're still talking about Florida's Big Bend at about 9 p.m. Thursday. And so far, unless this changes, they're predicting 130-mile-per-hour winds. Here's the unsurvivable part, and you hate to hear that, but also written from that in the advisories from the National Hurricane Center. This is Florida Senator Rick Scott giving an update last night from the Florida Emergency Management Center.
In Big Bend, they're talking about 18 foot of storm surge. You're not going to survive that. Also talking about flooding, talking about a lot of wind. This is a massive storm. So here's what I ask everybody. Take this seriously. Follow the weather. Watch what the locals are telling you. If they tell you to evacuate, do it immediately. This is a fast-moving storm. This is not, you're not going to have, 2 days. Let me think about it. Let me see how it comes.
Yeah, this is serious stuff. And really, as we learned so much more about storm surge. Now, if you're not familiar with it, the west coast of Florida, all around there, it's based off the Gulf, so that's why things rapidly intensify over that warm water. But it's also low-lying, so that storm surge of, like, let's just say it's even like 6 feet. Imagine that, like, coming up to your level of the height, like a 6-foot person, and that's what it would have. It's such a low-lying area. That's what it would be. So it's and you hope people evacuate on time if they're in an evacuation area. Just a tough deal. And like I said, for the rest of the state, we're getting these emergency alert warnings all over the place. One might go off today, and you might hear that going on. But, man, you just hate to see that. That thing is, so far, we talked about the modeling yesterday. It's intensifying almost exactly as they predicted so far. And, again, the amazing part about this was And it's a godsend, really, to have this technology out there. They were able to put together models, spaghetti models, modeling in this, even before there was a cone, of concern, or it was even a tropical storm. They were able to predict where this thing was going so far anyway, and they can always change. That's the danger in it. They can change last minute, last second. But so far, they're right on target with what they're predicting for it. So, man, just hate to see that. All right, let's lighten things up a little bit. It's a gross story, but we can lighten it up because it doesn't affect your life or my life. Talking about the Diddy story. Sean Diddy Combs. Now, he's indicted, speaking of indictments and all kinds of gross stuff, at the Diddy parties. The, what they call them? The wildings, the ragings? I don't know what it's a bunch of gross stuff. It really is. Like prostitution charges and maybe human trafficking, whatever. It's gross. I get that. But you have to laugh at the defense that his team is putting up so far. First of all, they're all out there, and these must be some of the highest priced lawyers, attorneys, defense attorneys in Hollywood. And they've come up with everything. It's not as bad. This is that. It's not true. They're trying to, shoot down testimony from potential witnesses that are coming up there. But this is the best one I've heard overall. You have to listen to this. We've all heard about this is getting gross, the baby oil at the parties, right? A lot of baby oil. That term keeps on coming up over and over and over again. Like a lot of it. Thousands of bottles. Well, there was some reporter that caught one of his attorneys outside of the courtroom just yesterday, and she asked him a great question. Because we all want to know. All right, we kind of know about this story. What's with the baby oil? What did he say?
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know. And this is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do.
It's not 1,000 bottles of baby oil isn't weird. It's Costco. You gotta buy in bulk, baby. You know how that goes. Ever buy a bottle of ketchup at Costco? They're like restaurant size. So in his mind, in his defense, he doesn't really believe this. 1,000 bottles. Listen. It's Costco. There's one right down the street. No big deal. I just had to laugh out loud. It doesn't affect your life or my life, but I don't know. It's just an amazing thing. And I got to tell you, too, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure you might have as well. I don't really mind seeing celebrities squirm because there's more videos coming out of people at these parties, apparently. The latest one was LeBron James, I guess. And who knows, not accusing him of anything or anybody else, but he was coming out of the party or in the party, and he's going, ain't no party like a Diddy party. Yeah, I guess not. Whatever. Jeez. There's some slimy stuff involved with the charges, but the baby oil defense, that was just an absolute classic. All right, we got a viral video that's sweeping the nation, and it's all about this. Well, is it really stolen if she meant to give it back? Maybe not. All right, this is a video that was actually recorded, as we learned this morning, over a year ago. But the guy that recorded it just released it on TikTok. That may tell you something. Here was the deal. I got to read this and make sure I have it right. It was a JetBlue flight, and apparently they were going to Miami, but something happened, and there was weather, and they had to make a layover, and the pilot told everybody there were going to be delays so that everybody get off the plane and then come back on when we're ready to go again. Good chance that you've gone through something like that. I know I have. Well, this guy gets back on a plane, and somebody had told him, another passenger, hey, that girl that's in across the aisle and down a few rows, she stole your charger while you deplaned. So she comes back on, and he confronts her about it. What happens with this is actually kind of amazing. Here's the scene and how it all went down.
Excuse me, did you take my charger? Why would you take my charger?
Because we got off the flight.
Yeah, but my charger, that's my charger. Why would you take
You're
it?
gonna get it back. Give me one
But why would you
second.
take it though without
Give it
permission?
back.
Nobody was on the flight, bro.
Yeah, but that's
Shut the
my
fuck
charger.
up. And you're getting it back.
Okay,
No
can
one
I
was
have
on
it
the
back?
flight. Give me 1
Yeah,
second.
but don't steal things. You can't take things without
When
asking.
nobody is on the flight. It's
Oh, you just take things? Like we're not coming back? Why don't you take people's luggage then?
And again, what's her defense? She says right there, and she says it multiple times in the part of the video you didn't hear after that. Well, you got off the plane, and I was going to give it back. Do you really think she was going to give it back? I have to give you a little disclaimer here, not to throw a wet blanket on the fun, but just after covering viral stories or things that go viral through videos, especially from TikTok, for years on the radio side of things, there's about, I'd put it at like an 80% chance this is totally fake. And also add into the mix that this is like a year old. I don't know why the guy waited this long to add this to the viral world, to our lives. But he did. And he also says at the tail end of the video, yeah, you're going to be TikTok famous. So it might have been a setup. She might be with him, and the whole thing is set up for clicks. But who cares? For our purposes, I think it asks a very important question. Is she right? She just took it. She can claim all she wants. I was going to give it back once I saw you back on the plane. No, she's not right. I'm with you. I totally agree with that. If it's real, there's no way she was going to give it back. But here's the cool part of the story. If it's real, the flight attendant, according to the guy, had offered him they could pull her off the plane before it took off again and have her charged. And the guy says he turned that offer down. If that's true, good for him. Lesson learned. That's about it. I was going to give it back. That's almost as good as the baby oil defense, but not quite. All right. Going to cut a little bit short before one of these weather alerts goes off again. Thankfully, that didn't happen while we were live streaming, but that's going on more and more these days for the people in the weather areas affected by Helene. It's a serious deal, man. It's next big update will be coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern time for that. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. We're going to get the unsealed indictment for New York City Mayor Eric Adams today. Oh, and one more thing, by the way, that just popped up last night as well, and I forgot to mention this. Trump campaign officially announced he's going back to Butler, Pennsylvania. That was the site of the first assassination attempt where he got shot in the ear. He said, fight, fight, fight. And I think he meant it. Now, this is an old joke because it was a couple of months ago now. And I think we've all said it and maybe even thought it. The first thing he should say when he walks up onto that stage and cracks the mic, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted. I don't know. We'll see if he really does it. I know he's aware of that joke. People have actually told him that. All right. Thanks for following along. Appreciate you so much. People, be careful if you're in the wake of that or in the path of that Hurricane Helene because it's a strong one. We'll get some more details on that coming up a little bit later on. Live stream is on. It's up on X, replay later as well, YouTube as well, and now the audio podcast, wherever you find them, wherever you get them. Thanks for hanging out with me. Don't take any crap from anybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.